Here goes that talking to the mic stuff. They always want me to talk into the mic. Ready? Seeing as how it's 10 o'clock, we will call this meeting to order. Roll call. All three districts are present. Notice that the meeting was properly posted on July 21st, 2022. First item of business is discussion and possible action regarding the minutes of July 11th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion in a second. Push your button. Charles?
Okay, there we go.
They did it opposite. That's all right. Yep, Cody motion, Charles seconded.
I did.
There's not any
My
buttons.
only option now is to withdraw motion.
Yeah.
And I do not wish to do that.
Stellar start. Here
Can
we
I
go.
Smash
There's
it now.
everybody smash your yes button.
I just have motion.
You don't have this yet?
No, I got that.
It should refresh on the bottom left. A little circular deal.
Same thing.
Okay, motion passed 3-0. Did everybody vote yes?
I was a yes.
Okay,
I
thank
was
you.
a yes.
We'll do verbal as well.
Okay.
Departmental items. Item number 2, discussion and possible action. HVAC on 9th floor courthouse options.
We're moving forward. Chantel just handed me 3 quotes from 3 different vendors for replacement chilled water fan coil units. So we should have more on that in our next meeting.
Sounds great. Charles, you got anything? It's your floor.
Second.
There's a motion in a second.
Was I put on the wrong one?
Uh-oh. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing no opposed, motion clearly passes. Item number 3, discussion possible action to present a progress report on courthouse elevator upgrades, and I'm sure Keith is going to say everything's progressing as normal.
That's right, and we're on schedule. Until we're not.
Any questions? Seeing no questions, is there a motion?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And mash your buttons. Now, item number 4, discussion possible action to enter into a new service agreement with the vicinity. Anything new?
I've not gotten any kind of a document back from them. I put calls in. The only thing we have received was the June vicinity bill for chilled water and steam, which was over double the estimate for the month.
Double because of our usage or double because of the unit price?
Both.
Okay.
If you remember in our DET budget discussions, there was a, I believe, $600,000 to $800,000 figure that Vicinity had given us to budget and plan for. I'm projecting a 1.2. That's kind of where we thought we'd be at the end of the year. So unless things change, you might plan for that.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. We have a motion and a second on item number 4 to receive report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing no opposed, motion clearly passes.
I sent with my OG&E bill this month too.
Oh, yeah. Item number 5, discussion possible action regarding the new front entrance security and space allocation for clerks' books.
On the front entrance, that was turned in to the ARTBA program. I don't know if you guys took action on that yet or not.
That was one of the ones that we funded.
Oh, you did fund
Yeah, we
So-
moved $1 million from ARPA to ARPA project account for the build out of that project, the new front entrance.
Okay, does the budget board have to?
It should be on BOCC's next, not today's special meeting, but the
There'll be
next
a
Monday.
time where I can cut purchase orders off of that in the near future.
Yeah, very near future.
Okay, we'll get the plans finished up and brought before everybody. And they're
Sounds
pretty
great.
close. All right, and then on the books, I've been working with Carrie. She's got a good idea, to rearrange the space she's keeping down there. The books kind of run north-south. She's thinking about running them east-west and then on into Chantel's current area. Fits pretty good. It's pretty efficient. And then with the space across the hall and not all of it, kind of everything west of the stairwell would finish out the books, including the new cabinets we would need to unload some of the weight off of the current cabinets. It's a pretty good plan. It's pretty efficient. Got some file cabinets that can go upstairs on this floor on that end. So there's there's plenty of room to disperse the stuff, and Carrie's aware of where we're going with everything. She's helping plan it out. So I think we're gonna get agreement there fairly quickly. But as far as some dollars to fund this, I think Danny stated at the last budget board, there's like $29,000 in an unallocated capital fund that could be used. This committee has this $300,000 of funds you can use for projects. And then there's always PBA, but I think there's a current PBA agenda item out there from December that froze all that money for a sheriff's use. You need to reconsider that item if you ever want to take some money out of there. But I need some direction from this group on where we would get the monies that we're going to need to do these various things. Step one, you move Chantel to the third floor.
To which floor?
Third floor.
Okay.
Not a huge cost, but a cost. And then
No, that's
do some demo in her area.
I don't think it's the cost that's the issue there. I think it's the, you're talking about putting her into the IT spot, right?
Yeah, District 1 used to occupy that space for a couple of years. Last I knew it was available. Keith and I admit.
Caveat,
Yeah, we got the treasurer
no.
asking for that
Rich,
space
Rich and
as
Dane
well.
wanted to be assured that they could either work remotely or they'd have other space before they gave that up. I believe that was their concern.
As soon as they can get that policy approved by policy and governance, or just the budget or book or whatever it is that has to. approve
I
the
heard they
policy.
were bringing that to policy and governance months ago, but I guess maybe that didn't happen.
Yeah, because
So-
IT's the easiest one to move.
These are the moving parts that would make this plan work.
I think what we probably need to know is how much space purchasing is gonna need. That's a pretty large footprint. District 1, when we were up there temporarily, we didn't have all of that space. We partitioned off just a small segment of that on the interior side of that. But there's a whole bunch on that back side.
Right. She doesn't need the
So,
whole.
right, but if we can figure out how much space the treasurer is wanting, I think I heard you say that. If they are wanting space over there, how much space purchasing is going to need, and then if we need some space for IT to have an area, let's figure out how much all of that is, and look and see how much space we have in there.
Yes. So
But we could at least do two, because there's two separate entrances to that space. One across from the treasurer's entrance on that far east side, and then one over by the elevator bay.
Is there a reason we're not moving Chantel just directly across the hall?
Books take up that space.
we're having books on both sides, north and south side
Okay.
of the
Okay.
hall downstairs.
We can do a calculation and give them the same square footage. I think they like the idea of having an open space. Chantel can probably speak more to that. but if the same square footage with access to that break room that's adjacent to the space in the east would be suitable, and that might free some other space up off the hallway lobby area.
But this would seemingly be a simple thing, but it has not been, because every time we come to this committee, there's a change. Rich and Dane had agreed to give it up, and now maybe they don't. And the treasurer was never in the picture, and now he is, so.
Well, to Dane and Rich, if we're going to have them back on prem, I mean, we need to make sure that we've got some workable solutions. When we're talking about the books on the first floor, moving it around, I know Miles had a good idea a while back where it was basically opening that end kind of up and not having the hallway go all the way down the middle and then having space on this side and then space on that side, and then you're just losing that hallway. When you're looking at this now, are you still looking at that where you're opening up the hallway to have a big open
We don't need
space?
to lose the hallway, and that's an exit that's probably an emergency exit we need to keep.
You can still
You
keep the
could still
emergency
keep,
exit.
yeah.
You just have to make sure the path through it is clear. You don't have to have a hallway to denote an emergency exit.
Those are temporary walls on the west side of those offices and can be removed fairly easily. So if Chantel wanted to take the east side, she'd have access to the hallway, the lobby there, elevator lobby door.
You're talking about on third floor.
No,
Yes.
we're talking about on the first floor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You got me jumping around everywhere.
I'm sorry.
Like, wait, what?
I just didn't know what we were talking about on that first floor, because last I knew when we were talking about the first floor, it was, I think this group liked Miles's idea of just kind of opening that up back there to where it would be a larger space that you could fit more into.
Well, we
Smaller
could do
footprint.
that, but I think it's an unnecessary cost. We don't need to do that, but whatever this committee wants to do. But we keep changing it each time, so we never.
So
Make
Danny
any
wants to
progress.
use our $29,000 of unallocated capital funds, yet.
I'm just saying that that's
This
the
would-
pots that I've found.
Okay, what about the preservation fund?
That
For
can be
these
used
books.
to actually move the books. The books will be moved using the preservation fund, but my understanding is you can't build out space with the preservation fund.
So you can't preserve books with preservation funds?
I've been told you can't build out space, but
Okay.
that's a legal question you have to ask the DA.
Yeah, that sounds like an interpretation. Okay. Do we know monetarily what we need yet?
We
Can we
talked
shake
about
down?
a number this morning. I think the cost for all this is coming down. Depending on how you would build out Chantel's space is still an unknown, but we were talking $500,000 or more for the ICB, and now I would cut that way back for the plan that I kind of presented this morning.
Okay, well, when you have a little more details, because you mentioned the plan keep changing. The last plan that I knew of on the first floor was opening the space and putting it all in there. So to me, this is a change of plan from what we were talking about before. So we're just going to need to see what this is going to look like. But the assessment of if the treasurer is needing more space, if IT is going to need some space, and how much Chantel's going to need, let's figure that out and see if we can fit, if we can accommodate all that on the third floor. If we can't, then we're going to need some of that first floor, and that may necessitate
IT
some
is coming
changes
back.
in the
This
design.
plan is dead. We got to start all over. The way I see it, because IT occupied all that space.
There you go. So,
They did, but even when IT had it, there was a lot of dead space in there. Not all the offices were used. There was excess space. And IT had indicated that some of the folks that were there, they could move over into the data center. Maybe not all of them, but even if they did come back, they may not need all of that space.
you're the Butch Whisperer, you Missouri Tiger grads. Can you go talk with him and see what he needs, what his wants and what his needs are, obviously, are probably two different things. So let's move this new puzzle piece in and see what we can figure out. We do have ICB. I have balked at that, but it's looking better and better every day, even though I don't like the financial figure on it, but we need to do something with that building for sure. So, all right. Anything else on this?
Nope.
Do you need decisions
I don't think you can make any today until we find out,
until that policy is changed? And
yeah, who really
employee
is
meeting.
gonna occupy the space
all right.
on 3.
I have a question. Is there room for Chantel, or rather purchasing on the east side of the stairwell on the first floor?
East side.
Because you're talking about the books are taken up to the west side of the stairwell, is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
The west side.
Can you move Chantel back to her office now that we don't have a food vendor?
That space is certainly available.
Chantel, go back to your office.
No, the books would occupy all of the southwest corner of that first floor.
Okay. Just wondering. Thanks. I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to receive the report on item number 5. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion clearly passes 3-0. Item number 6, discussion and possible action regarding TIF 2, TIF 2A budget.
No changes.
No changes, no action. Item number 7 is discussion and possible action, consider participation in a Northwest 63rd sidewalk improvement project in Nichols Hills.
Is the attachment, can we pull that up on the screen?
Let's see. So this isn't a restoration. This is a new project.
The city engineer of Nichols Hills is trying to work on a sidewalk project along 63rd Street. And the first hurdle he ran into was, it's basically 63rd is in that orphan road category where the cities have just annexed up to the right of way and not the center line, looking like we are the owners of the road, which I've told them, we're not. We want the orphan road issue resolved before we would consider anything. So I'm just bringing this to your attention that it's a request and it's out there. It kind of involves 2 districts. Nichols Hills is in District 2, but that's the borderline between 1 and 2. So this maybe the south side of the road, being Oklahoma City, where part of this sidewalk project would go, would be District 1. So both districts would weigh in on this. Everything in green on that map is still held by the county in the eyes of the cities. I don't see it that way. I see they should have annexed to the center line. We're trying to get our hands on the annexation documents and trying to work through that. Gretchen's aware of this issue and she'll help us with the city.
So can we, since they're playing this way, can we submit them an invoice for our fees for any traffic stops that they have done along 63rd there over the past however long that they say that they have not owned this?
Don't know.
I mean, it's that, or we can tell them to refund everybody's stuff because it wasn't the county pulling over.
If you really want to have some fun, barricade 63rd Street off. Some New Jersey barrier.
Hey, that sounds like a good idea to me. It's not my district.
I don't think there's any decision here today that I can see. You guys might come up with one. I just wanted to present it to you, let you know what's out there. They're going to ask for some participation in the project.
Did they shoot you a figure?
No, we're not that far yet. There is a citizen that's complaining to District One's office about not having good sidewalk access out there, which is kind of another reason I brought this to you today.
Yeah, you know, you had mentioned the south side though, which is in Oklahoma City. Is Oklahoma City interested in this project at all?
From everything I can gather to date, no, they're not.
That was
That's why they came to
Right.
us.
And if memory serves correct, I mean, first of all, the orphan road situation, I mean, we got to get this taken care of because, I mean, you can't just annex up to and then just, but anyway, I seem to recall in the past, you know, we've talked to the district attorney's office and that, you know, we were able to do sidewalks, build sidewalks, if it was in association with a road project and part of the drainage and all of that, but that we could not do sidewalks just by themselves, just step in and do a sidewalk project. That's what we've been told in the past. Yes. Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts to this, but I don't know whether or not it was supposed to be wanted to do the south side. You know, going to take it on.
Yeah.
And that's part of that.
The Nichols Hills are doing a lot of fact finding at this point as well.
Yeah, and I think the first step in that fact finding is getting the legal situation of the road straightened out before we advance any further.
How do we resolve this issue? Is there an opinion, an AG opinion that we could seek? Is there, I mean, because annexation laws are what, we stopped the strip annexation aspect that Hera's famous for. How do we,
Well, we had this issue around on Britain Road, village,
oh yeah, very familiar.
right? And so, I remember
We never participated in the
Ended.
project that the village had asked for
Yeah.
until they solved the Orphan Road issue. And I don't know if they ever solved the issue or not, but they built the project without us.
Yeah.
is what I found out.
They did the project without us.
it's, I think it's a little ridiculous. But, I mean, there are a couple options. Nichols Hills could annex itself.
Right.
Which you can see they've already done a block on that map on the south side. They're in there, everything in red on the bottom line. They did what she's talking about.
You need to go to the restroom? Okay. Why aren't you saying
Keith,
that on the
Keith, this is an
microphone?
open meeting. If you don't mind, use the
Yeah.
microphone.
So I was looking at the same thing because if you look at that one little block that we own the north and the south about, that's exactly what I was.
Yeah, so I stumble around there all the time. And
I was
don't
wondering if
have
we
any
could put a
dog
box
in this hunt, but there's fencing located on both the north and the south side, and also a tunnel, a golf cart trail tunnel between the north, connecting the north and the south
Yeah.
half that would have had to have been addressed in this manner some way in the past.
I don't know how far back that goes. I know what you're talking about. I think that's what's making the project so expensive. They're looking for partners.
That's probably the only reason that they didn't annex both sides of the road right
Yeah,
there
they
at the
did.
golf club.
It's kind of close.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I guess the district increased the speed limit there.
Or a stop sign.
Yes, that's 55.
75.
Rev it up, but,
That sounds safe. Let's go from 40 to 55 to 40.
Let's do
Like 2
75.
blocks.
Because We could play with that because then they could, there's the state law that they have to do it in 10-mile-an-hour increments when it drops down. So it doesn't say anything about ramping up. It says everything about dropping down because then it goes into, what do they call it? What do you call those when you pull them through the small town and you get
Speed trap.
speed trap? There you go.
Yeah, Stacy, if District One's gonna be involved and you gotta talk to Brian Jasper, be sure and put a roundabout in that drawing.
There we go.
Yeah,
Loves
again,
those.
Let me tell you how expensive it is to acquire land for a roundabout right there.
But I think you need to decide exactly what the issue was. And my best guess without knowing is that they've got federal sidewalk money.
Yep.
Whether they have, willing to pursue those sides. And whether they'll consider annexation.
Yeah. I guarantee you that somebody has utilities running through there. Of course, that's a little bit different, but
And I don't know how far that,
I would probably. I think it. So on the, what would be the west side, it stops a little bit short of going all the way across to our easement. And then on the east side, if memory serves correct, it's a little bit past that maintenance barn access road. But it's been a couple weeks since I drove through there.
those cities, some sidewalk, or what the rest of these people are, I can't recall what it's called. I think they're in my end of the villa, or made a villa. And then it has, and I just know when they put a sidewalk in, it's real.
Yeah. Well, I think at this point, there's a couple things. Stacy was right. There is a constituent that reached out to District One. We do need to figure out the proper legal ownership of this section of road, because if it is owned by, I mean, we know it's an orphan road, but if it actually, based on annexation laws, like what Miles was talking about, if it should still, if the north side should be Nichols Hills and the south side Oklahoma City, then the county, I mean, we don't do work in those areas until we receive a request from that municipality. So we wouldn't just act on our own. We would wait until we receive that. So that question needs to be answered. And then secondly, we get back to what I mentioned before about, my recollection is we've been told in the past that we can't do sidewalks by themselves, that we can do that as part of a road project, but not just as a sidewalk project by itself. So that would be a secondary question after the first was answered.
What I'm saying is, it's supposed to, I bet, and then get that away,
Right.
kind of like the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I know this horse is dead at this point, but on Villa, the bottom picture, you have a little strip of blue there. I wish what is it to the west of that? Because if that's not connected, then you have to be connected when you do annexation. So I'm assuming that goes, Oklahoma City goes off to the west there. You see what I'm saying? It has to be connected somehow, otherwise it's ours. So, any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to receive report?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second on item 7, receive report. All those in favor signify by saying aye and mash your buttons. I'm trying to talk as much as possible to drag that button motion. Discussion and possible action regarding the capital improvement list. Any change?
No changes.
No action. Item number 9, discussion and possible action regarding transfer, maintenance, and repair of security infrastructure equipment from the sheriff to us. There's nothing new. No action. Hopefully this will wrap up pretty soon. Any citizens wishing to participate? Anybody online? Seeing none. Board comments? Anybody? Seeing none. Any new business? There is none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Without objection, that'll be the order. Seeing no objection, we are adjourned. Ready? All right, we're going to call this Public Building Advisory Committee meeting to order. All 3 districts are represented. Meeting was properly posted on July 21st, 2022. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes. Is there a
So
motion?
moved.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye and mash your buttons. Aye. Departmental items. Item number 2, MOU renewal between BOCC and Sheriff's Office.
This should be the Public Building Authority, I guess, here, for the $85,673.52 for a sheriff, one assigned sheriff's deputy for the PBA. That's a renewal contract.
Was that an increase?
Yes. Of about 6%.
Is there a motion? Motion to recommend approval? There's a
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Item number 3, discussion possible action envelope project. Anything new?
Nothing new there.
Nothing new, no action. Item number 4 is sheriff's personnel equipment installation equipment. Anything new on the ICB security? Nothing new, no action. Item 5. Tell us about the repair of the column at Metro One.
One of our-
Stacy, did you hit something?
Haven't
Okay.
been in there, Lance.
He doesn't go
would
up
if
past
I
the
was in
first floor. This is on the 6th floor. One of our maintenance guys noticed that a column on the 6th floor in the interior of Metro One had begun to spall in various places. It's isolated to that floor. We brought out Zoll Ford to have a look. They're going to give us a recommendation as to how to repair that. The cost shouldn't be more than $2,500, $3,000, but we're still gathering information at this point. We looked around the rest of the parking garages, and we don't seem to have any other problems like that. However, the next agenda item will discuss our next move.
Do you need any action from us?
No, just make you aware that we've got an issue with the one column.
Is there a motion to receive report?
So moved.
There's a
Second.
motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion clearly passes, and mash your buttons when they come up.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 6. That sounds like a good idea. Parking garage structure assessment.
Yeah, it's been over a decade since we last did this, and with what's happened with the one column, we need to look carefully at each column. The structural members in the parking garage So I believe it's all Ford is on contract. They've done some work in the past. We need to do this. I would guess an estimate between $10,000 and $20,000 for that
Just be
thorough
one and
kind of a
two?
look. I'm sorry?
Will this be for Metro 1 and 2?
Yes.
Um,
I don't have hard numbers from anybody yet on anything, but,
You mentioned they're under contract for
well, I think they're,
on the state contract basis?
They did the assessment last time, is over a decade ago is what you're talking about. But they are professional service. I don't know how many other vendors provide that service, but
so they're
having
not,
seen
they're
it
they're
last
not under
time,
any
they'd be a
kind of,
logical choice for this
being
time.
but they're not under any,
They're not under any
Contractual.
contract.
but
Oh, sorry.
professional services,
Yeah.
same as hiring an architect, we just go. Is there
we
a
could-
motion? Okay.
I think it's a good idea as long as you get with purchasing and make sure that, all of the procurement pieces are in order. Sure. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Are you wanting us to make a recommendation that they move forward with getting an assessment in place?
yes.
So moved.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
There's
I'll
a
second the
motion.
motion.
Motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye. Push the
Aye.
buttons. Any opposed? See no opposed. Motion clearly passes. Any citizen participation? Seeing none. Board comments. Gentlemen?
None.
Ladies? Any new business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. If there's no objection, that'll be the order.